Welcome to the When We Cry Umineko Book Club podcast, part 13, where we will continue to discuss episode 3 of Umineko. This is our part 2, I guess. I am your host, Lorenzo.
I am Ambi.
I am Des.
And this is Mushroom. It's very exciting times, I know.
All right, we did it. Oh my god. I'm pretty sure, 90% of this will be edited out, but we just spent an hour trying to record the introduction, so thank you for sticking with us. So, how's everyone been? It's been almost a month, I think, since the last time we talked about
No way.
Umineko,
I feel like we talked last week, right?
Yeah, it's been like a week or two.
Like an entire month.
Oh, I don't know. My concept of time has been, down the drain ever since the incident.
Ever since the end of time.
Ever since the calamity.
Yeah. The IRL calamity. It's been a real doozy. I think my end of the Discord call, I guess, my workplace is trying to reopen soon, so they want everybody to go into work tomorrow, and I'm like, okay, well, that's fine, I guess. But on the bright side, round 1 is also going to try to open, which is...
Ooh, that would be fun.
It's not smart. I don't think I'll go, but, it's good that they're trying to reopen it now, so in time.
Lorenzo, do you have your shots yet?
Yeah, I'm fully vaxxed. I can lick all the doorknobs I want. I can sniff everybody sneezes. I can open mouth kiss any strangers I see on the streets. I'm good.
I just got my first shot.
Nice.
The thing that I'm looking forward the most right now is to go eat all-you-can-eat sushi. There's a all-you-can-eat sushi place right down my street that I love, and I used to just tank so much money there because, actually it's pretty cheap. It's if you go on a day that's their special days, it's $20-ish dollars, and I literally could eat $200 worth of sushi.
Hell yeah,
there.
you have to.
Exactly. I would say out of everything in the world that I really want to do because of end of COVID is I want to go eat pho and I want to go eat sushi. And you could still order pho as a takeout, but it's still just not as good as getting it in a bowl.
I mean, you're this close. You're halfway there. Stick to it.
I know.
How about you guys? How are things on the COVID immunity, timeline for both of you?
Well, I'm fully vaxxed and...
still pretty far away for me.
Well, I bought a plane ticket, so I have that to look forward
to. Oh, sweet. To where?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go see Mush again.
What? Oh, that sounds so fun.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a fun time during summertime.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome.
Nice.
Yeah,
I'll have a fun time.
I'm sorry. How bad is your country with COVID? I don't necessarily know that much about how your country did. So is it good, bad?
It's a hard. We're on a hard situation right now because it's not bad enough to where things are gonna close, but for the same reason things are starting to open again. And so what I mean by this is people are no longer afraid of the thing, and now that things are starting to open, but I wouldn't be concerned about things opening up again if we weren't so close to the point where we have to get back home again. So it's not things are well and we can reopen. It's just that they aren't as bad, so we can reopen. You know what I mean? We're still on the risk zone,
Nope.
So
according to the people in Portugal, COVID is over, so they're doing whatever they want. Awesome.
Either way, we're not here to talk about COVID.
Let's talk about the giant-ass explosion that happened next to your house. What happened?
Exactly. What was that about?
Yeah. I have no idea.
Is there on the news? You talk to your neighbors?
No, that's... I think I am living in a parallel universe. The city I live on doesn't exist in a country that itself doesn't exist. I don't know what happened, but I have lived here for about a year, and I have witnessed two abnormal things happen in front of my eyes
What
that
are the
just
two
don't
abnormal
even
things? Tell me.
pass on the news. Honestly speaking, like the first time I thought I was gonna be hit by an alien or something. I thought I had walked into a sci-fi set because I'm just driving home, and as I approach the vicinity of my house, I just see the streets filled with cars randomly parked to the side with the doors open. And like, I would find it weird if it was just one street, but like, my street was filled, right? So I had to go park my car somewhere. And I passed through like a lot of streets to find somewhere to park my goddamn car. And all of them were flooded with abandoned cars. So I'm like, what just happened here? And so I end up having to park my car at the supermarket. But when I'm doing the curve to getting to the supermarket, I just find a random man dropped like in the middle of the street with a police officer penning him to the ground with a crowd of people on both sides just looking. Like they weren't even conversing or discussing what had just happened. They were just looking like they were random NPCs in a video game. They were just looking around. I'm like, what did I just drive into? And like,
he broke the rules and now he is getting punished.
and like,
wait, I don't get it, Des. So like,
Wait,
I
what is
don't
going
either.
on? Was there an explosion? or
yeah,
something?
that's the other thing that. But okay, this story I just told that I never ended up find out what happened. It just happened, and I had to try to not hit the police officer and the person who was being pinned against the ground. It was weird. I never ended up finding out what happened. And
so
this
like, you didn't
explosion
even
happened.
talk to your parents about it, like, or you didn't talk to anybody in your
Yeah,
life about it.
I did. I got home and I was like, "Do you know what just happened here?" And they were like, "What?
They're like,
what do
he
you
never
mean?"
existed.
It's like, yeah, it's
What
like
are
I'm
you
the only
talking
one
about?
witnessing This. It's just so weird. But not this time though, because this last time that happened last night, not last night. It was night. Well, it doesn't matter. It was this weekend. So like, I was
Recently,
just
2 days
watching
ago,
a
yeah.
stream on Twitch on my phone, and then I start hearing this big ass sound like a blast wave, like someone had just. Do you know how when like a motorcycle passes by and sometimes you hear this boom, this explosion, you know?
Mhm.
So like at first
Yeah.
I hear
Yeah.
that, and I'm like, okay, it's a motorcycle, but then like. The sound doesn't disappear, it just keeps going and getting bigger until a bigger explosion happens, and I'm like, what the fuck? And so like I lose control over my own body for a solid 2 seconds as I just fucking, what's the expression when you're like, my body just starts moving on its own. I fucking throw the phone into the ceiling, or I don't know what happened. I was not controlling my body at that time, and so like I hear the biggest blast wave I had never heard a sound that big. And then I was like, what happened here? So I opened the window. Everyone's on their windows just looking at each other. No one has no idea what just happened. We kind of like, I could kind of smell the scent of fire in the air. But at the same time, it was at night. And I didn't, there was no light anywhere. If it was a flame, I would see, the light from the flame. So I have no idea what happened. So I went to the bathroom. Not because I shat my pants, but because I honestly need to go to the bathroom. So when I come back again to the window, I look at the window and there's a fire truck and not an ambulance, but a regular medical car there. But I don't know what they were leaving. So like I missed whatever happened. And once again, nothing is on the news. No one knows about what happened. This city is cursed.
I believe you.
Wait, so you didn't ask anybody about it? Like, did you ask your parents about it? Like, or your like anybody?
What did you
family?
expect me to do? Go knock at my neighbor's door and ask
I don't
what
know.
happened?
I feel like I would literally like. Okay, I was helping my friend I was teaching her how to drive, and we were driving around a parking lot, and it was at a parking lot that had a trampoline place, and then we saw like 4 police cars in front of the trampoline place and a bunch of people there. We were like, that's kind of weird. And then an ambulance showed up and we were like, wow, that's really exciting. And then 5 more police cars showed up, and all we wanted to do was go onto Snapchat to see if anybody was live snapping. Like, what's
that's smart.
because what else could we have like find out, because it's like literally
Yeah.
live happening. And I was
So-
like, oh, if you have Snapchat and you were live Snapchatting what's around you, we might be able to figure out what's happening. we didn't figure out. But it was
Oh, dang.
fucking wild. There was literally police cars after police cars showing up, and I was like, we are not a big town. Like, where the fuck is 12 police cars gonna be doing in front of this like one trampoline place? Unless there's like a hostage situation or some 5 kids broke their necks simultaneously on a trampoline. I do not know why there's so many fucking
In a
police
ritual
cars.
trampoline murder sacrifice.
I just follow my cities.
That's where you get all your news and murders.
That's my reliable source of news.
Anyway, talked about some real world atrocities. Let's talk about fictional atrocities, man.
They're real to me. All right, okay, let's jump into it. Last time we ended at the preparations of the 3rd episode, and now we are about to jump into the start of the 3rd game. What does the start of the 3rd game mean? Who knows? We're going to find out. Anyway, cut to Maria losing her shit over her missing wilted rose again in the garden, crying in the rain. Beatrice in the flesh is there to offer her an umbrella and tells Maria to practice the magic she taught her to look for the rose. If you remember in the previous part that we covered, we went over the magic that Beatrice uses by telling you to close your eyes, reciting some magic words, and then it magically restores whatever you want. But Beatrice says that even she can't find the rose with her magic, and it's probably long gone at this point because there's a whole ass typhoon going on. Maria prods her to revive the rose again. Beatrice does more of her sa bullshit, and golden butterflies appear. Beatrice uses her magic to procure a gold lace rose for Maria. Cut to Kinzo, who says, "Bring it on, Beatrice. It's not like I'm gonna die a horrible explodey death or anything," and then throws his Ushiramiya head ring out the window. It turns into a butterfly, and it signifies that the starting shot has been fired. We follow this golden ring that turned into magical butterflies, and it turns into this beautiful yaoi hand mustache man decked out in butler attire, and he has this one-winged eagle crest on him. It's Ronove.
Yeah.
He announces...
He's finally here.
Yeah, and he announces the start of the game. Beatrice and Ronove shoot the shit with each other. They seem to be old acquaintances, and apparently he's like some high-level, level 27 demon summon, and he's familiar with Beatrice's other 7 summons, the 7 anime girl stakes.
Yeah.
Like I said, Brian David Gilbert.
Yeah. Yeah, that's basically him in the flesh.
We've seen the 7 sisters, and now we see Ronove, and like Ronove introduces us to this kind of magic way to categorize the demons, and he says he's the number I don't know what of the I don't know how many demons. They have this whole catalog of demons to choose from, and so I like to think about this as Beato is just playing a gacha game and she got to Ronove and she's like, cool, 5-star.
I mean, pretty much, yeah. And apparently he's like high level, so you know Beatrice is like
27,
the top dog.
so there's 72 demons, like, and he's one of the 72, and he's the 27 highest ranked great demon.
And he's one of the least straight characters.
Yeah, that's very true. He's also very not straight.
oh my god, you're about to see what happens like in the next like 5 seconds. He's like the sass master, honestly. Battler cuts in, like the meta guy encroaches onto the
Ambi, because you said Ronove looks like Brian David Gilbert, and I will never be able to unsee that, and that's kind of disturbing. He's like a weird blend between Brian David Gilbert and like John Waters, which are like some amount of not straight. Which I mean by John Waters will overshadow whatever that is happening, I guess. It's the pencil mustache.
It really is, yeah.
That is true.
Battler cuts in. He and the audience are probably like, wait, who the fuck is this guy, you know? Beatrice uses Ronove's presence as an example of the devil's proof. She's like, this is a demon or a devil. Here he is. You know, because the devil's proof.
Ooh, she summoned Will Nas X.
So she proved that demons exist before his eyes, and Battler and Ronove deadass almost kiss, and Battler backs up and says, whoa, I'm about to get in a fist fight with your master. And he tells, Ronove tells Beatrice that I'll back away from her boy toy. She mentions how much she appreciates how livelier and less boring it is compared to when she was all alone and trapped on the island by herself. Now that there are more demons in the mix and, you know, Battler's there to talk with her, I guess. Beatrice tells Battler that there are more demons where Ronove came from. And it's all because Battler's starting to believe in magic, and it's allowing Beatrice to tap into her magical prowess and whatever.
Yeah, while we're still on Runaway, I've gotta say that before reaching this part, I just couldn't understand why there was so much bot or ex-Runaway fan art and like ships, and like I was like, where is it? What?
It's this whole ass episode.
But now I'm like, yeah, there's so much tension between these two, and I'm like, how did I not see this the first time around?
Anyways, we're back in Rokujima. Maria reads a letter from Beatrice to everybody at the table, explaining that they need to solve the epitaph and find the gold, or else. So Kraus, Natsuhi, Rudolph, Rosa, Ava are all in a tizzy, fingering each other over who sent the letter. They even think it's one of Kiza's elaborate pranks. Yeah, they're just in the dining room fingering each other in front of the kids. Get your minds out of the gutter! That's what they did! And Kyrie suggests that maybe the letter's a real deal and Kinzo's just, doing his Kinzo things and telling everybody to solve a riddle for, an obscene amount of money. Ava suggests that the first one to solve the riddle would win the gold and headship as opposed to Fire Emblem Birthright. The voice in her head is coaxing her into believing that her own magical powers are at work. Remember, in the previous episode, the younger version of her imaginary friend, is like, if you believe in it, we can do it. The adult siblings bicker and suggest that they go directly to Kinzo in the study to see if he really sent the letter. And then Rosa agrees in the validity of the prize in the letter and suggests that it's a test from Kinzo. As in, maybe the epitaph really is a riddle that we need to solve. And then Ava, older sibling, styles her and says, duh, of course I came up with the idea like 5 minutes ago. Go die in a fire, bitch. Like, everybody likes to dunk on Rosa in this like dining room scene. It's kind of sad, honestly.
I think that's supposed to be like a good juxtaposition between EP2 Rosa and EP3 Rosa. Like, EP2 Rosa is like, I have a gun, I can do anything, look at these golds, watch me stab goats, and then like you immediately
in EP3 she has a family.
Like, exactly. Like, in EP3, immediately, like, everybody's like, shut the fuck up, Rosa. Like, do you even know how to read? Like, you don't, like, you can't even read that letter anyway. And they were like, what do you know?
She's like that Cheems dog meme in the corner. Like, everybody's the buff Shiva, and then Rosa's the little crying, sad Shiva in the corner. It's like, okay, whatever you guys say. Ava's little imaginary split personality comes up, and she coins her term, Heiso demo kanade shinjaiba. Otherwise known as go die in a fire,
what
bitch.
A classic line.
Very classic.
I know, you get used to that. She says it a lot.
I just want to open everyone's eyes to the fact that there is a 5-minute video on YouTube.
Yeah, I think I've seen whatever Des just mentioned. Like, there is a long video of every time this quote is uttered, so get used to it. Because
No, it's not the quote, it's the laugh, but she hasn't laughed yet, so...
Oh, the laugh? Okay, well, little kid, imaginary Ava telling her to rise up against her family bounces around her head like a DVD screensaver logo, and poor Rose is like, you're right, I am a dumb bitch baby, big sis, I will shut up now. Alright, the siblings come to an agreement to confirm the validity of the letter with Kinzo and rush out like the kids leaving the classroom for the summer, and everybody else left in the dining table are like, what just happened, and why did they perform the musical number, what time is it from High School Musical 2? Kyrie assures that the kids... I knew that joke wouldn't land very well, but if you watch High School Musical 2, you would have understood, Des. God.
Well, sorry.
No. I'll show you later.
Like
you are!
Right? Right? We all get it except you. Now go.
Tell us a long flashback.
Yeah. Your trauma. Expose your trauma.
Fine, I'll watch it right now during the episode.
We'll get there. We'll sing it for you, okay? Kyrie was left behind with everybody else. Assures the kids that this squabble over the money is actually for their benefit, and Maria agrees that they need to have faith in their parents, and if they don't believe, Beatrice's magic won't work, and they won't be a big, happy family anymore. They all ask Maria where the letter came from, and she keeps saying it's from Beatrice. Maria tells them she got the letter, umbrella, and magic rose from her, and Kyrie asks her to explain in detail, and, Kyrie is kind of sneaky about it because she's also on the adult side of trying to milk whatever information they could get to get the gold, But Kirie kind of does it in a nice way, but I still love her.
Oh, I remember this scene. This scene was so funny because, how was it? I think it was Eva that was crashing down on Rosa. She was like, you dumbass, you don't even know this, you don't even know that. And then Hideyoshi's like, Eva, calm down. Rosa is going through some tough times right now. So Rosa, what is it? And then Kirie is like, Hideyoshi, you are doing the exact same Eva was doing. What the fuck?
It's pretty funny. Because, like, even that happens, like, right after this, too. Like, the cousins leave the dining room and Battler wants to shake Kinzo's hands for, like, nay-naying on all the siblings with his weird cryptic witch letter and getting them all worked up. And apparently he doesn't respond to the kids, the adults, when they go to his room to ask about the letter. So it's more or less confirming that Kinzo did send the letter and wants the kids to solve the riddle, and he's not going to give them any hints or anything, and he's not going to object that it's a forgery or whatever. So the siblings go back to wherever the children are, and they hound Maria till she cries for details about the letters of the origin, and she can't get a straight answer out of her because she keeps saying it's from Beatrice. So the questionings end, the cousins go to the guest house while the adults just scream at each other, and Battler's like, okay, so I know that they're going to try to swindle Kraus out of all his money. This kind of sucks, right? And then George defends the parents with his... defends all the parents' behavior like the pick-me he is, and he continues to harass Maria about the letter. So he's like, so Maria, what about that letter? And then Jessica's like, dude, what the fuck?
like mother, like son?
Yeah, pretty much. But the cousins discuss the validity of more than 18 people being on the island and the potential source of the letter. And Jessica suggests that someone got Shannon to dress up like Beatrice in the portrait to trick Maria. Battler says maybe Kinzo was able to connect with Maria's occult obsession and, conspired with her to pull off this stunt. So at the moment, they just decide to assume that this mystical 19th person Beatrice is real and is pulling the strings behind everything. And Jessica is reminded of the legendary Beatrice inhabiting Rokkenjima. There's like this urban legend that there is a ghost of Beatrice just, wrecking shit up behind the scenes.
Ghosting around.
Yeah, so we cut back to the siblings in the dining hall discussing the contents of the witch's letter. It says, solve the epitaph, so anybody who solves it can inherit the wealth and the Ushirimiya headship. And they decide to stop pointing fingers at who could have sent the letter. And Rudolph tells Rosa to shut up and get some drinks so they can take a break. Another, older sibling Rosa moment. Didn't make sense in context. It makes more sense when you read the novel. You see, all the siblings just take jabs at Rosa. And she's like, yeah, okay, fine.
I mean, whoever is listening to this has read it, right? So they will get it.
Right.
Yeah, my favorite thing in that is when we first switch our scene back to the siblings in the main mansion talking about this whole money and people thing, is Cross being like, we made no progress, we have been just wasting time, and Eva's like, that's right, and the mere fact you realize that means that we don't have to waste more time anymore. I was like, damn, Emma just be spitting straight fire.
Yeah, no, Emma's going off.
Honestly, wow. She's laying down the law. She's going to win this game, The adults just continue to talk about the validity of the 19th person existing, or one of the 18 people being the mastermind behind this letter. They're like, okay, so if there's a 19th person on the island, where would they even be? So maybe the servants probably are doing stuff, but Rosa defends them and says, they're probably, doing servant things. It's not like they could pull off this elaborate prank. And they joke around and say maybe it's that scary urban legend of the witch of the island that's doing everything behind it. And apparently Rosa's extremely shaken up by it for whatever reason. And Ava's like, if only, a magical witch would come down and solve this problem and I'd get all my money in your arc. But that's not the case. Kirie suggests that this 19th person Beatrice is maybe Kinzo's mistress living somewhere on the island and not. So he's like, how could you? And the siblings are like, well, I mean, it's really funny because Natsuhi's just like, you can't sully our name like that. And everybody who's an Ushirimiya blood relative is like,
legit.
actually, Everybody was thinking of it because maybe Kinzo has, a secret box, the secret piece of string in it. And if you pull that secret string, there's like a mistress hiding somewhere on the island.
It's funny because like Natsu, she's alone in this. She's the only one who's like, yo guys, maybe let's not do this. Like, Kinzo, no, he wouldn't do that, right? But then everyone's just dunking on Kinzo. They even talk about, like, if the person who has the gold wanted to trade off the Shiromiya name, they would gladly do it. And as he's just on Haru Shiromiya corner, like, but why?
They would do it. And Natsu, he's just, like, trying her best to say, but you guys! Like, if you remember in the first episode, like, Kinzo himself said, you're the only one who deserves to wear the one-winged eagle crest, even though she really can't.
That's true.
But everybody's like, there probably was a mistress, and she's hiding somewhere in a hidden mansion elsewhere on the island. I mean, and they're like, they say that the possibility of like a mistress being hidden away on the island is totally real. I mean, he also might have done that with his hidden gold. And they're all just like, yeah, we definitely knew Mom was being cucked when she couldn't find Kinzo for hours. And the servants were probably, the servants also like played into that rumor. They were like, maybe he turned into gold butterflies or some shit and like came back. Calm down, woman. That's what they told their mom. I don't think they ever named the siblings' mom.
They never say it. Which is, I think, the best thing
never do.
of all time.
I know, that's so fucking sad. They're just like, yeah, she died paranoid because, they thought he was cheating on her on this secluded island somehow. So Kyrie says that the scary witch of the forest urban legend was probably the hidden mistress. Like, they told all the kids to never go into the forest or the witch will eat you because they were hiding a mistress. So since this lady is like the common rumor of the island, it more or less confirms that there's a 19th person. Who knows? But, the devil's proof, you can't confirm that the 19th person doesn't exist. So they'll continue going down this line of thought that they are actually on the island. The rumor of the island is that the mistress has been around since the family moved onto Rokkenjima like 30 years prior. And honestly, if there's a hidden mansion built And honestly thinking if there's a hidden mansion built for this lady, this relationship between her and Kinzo had been going on way before they moved on to Rokkenjima. But Natsu, he's trying to cover for Kinzo and saying that he's just probably really good friends with whoever gave him the gold,
Yeah, totally just like normal pals. Like just, nothing going on between them.
Just gal pals.
I won't tell you about who this is. Yeah, just gal pals, Sappho and her friends, that whole deal. So the siblings expose Krause's plan to make Rokkenjima into a resort and ask if he's ever actually found a hidden mansion while he was surveying the island. And Krause denies it, but they're sure he probably knows something since Krause is probably using the island surveying as a cover for him searching for the gold. And everybody takes jabs at Rosa for believing in the witch in the meantime. And they assess the feasibility of housing a mistress for decades because, if they're going to keep thinking that there's actually a 19th person pulling the strings, they got to, entertain the idea, right? So they're like, Kinza's definitely down bad enough to let somebody be a bitch living lavish, her boyfriend, a pro athlete, he play baseball, and she happy, and y'all not. You see what the problem is? It's perspective. And I just dumped a meme on you guys. I don't know
I got it. Thank you, Lorenzo.
Thank God. Okay, so you can cut out me asking if you guys got the joke because that's like the saddest part. You say, please laugh. I said Among Us. Why aren't you guys laughing? But
I said the funny words.
I liked your High School Musical joke. I thought that was really good. I like this joke too.
Okay, good. I gotta make sure it lands well because weeks later when you're editing it, you're like, oh my God, you said such a funny joke, but nobody laughed. I'm so sad for you. And I'm like, it's okay. I'm glad somebody got it.
There's times when Des say things, then I listen to them in the future. I'm like, oh my God, that's such a funny line. I'm so sad nobody got to hear it, and then just went past it.
I'm just gonna assume that there was lag going on, in the empty space when somebody cuts out and cuts back in. That they just said an absolute banger. So from now on, I'm going to laugh as hard as I can when that happens. Anyways, so speaking of a hidden lady who's just been on the island for decades. They're just like, okay, so this lady's probably hella old at this point, and considering that she's been hidden on the island without anybody knowing that she exists, she was probably like under house arrest for all those years, which is kind of weird. But you remember how in the previous episode how Beatrice would mention that she'd been held captive by Kinzo? Well, probably has to do something with that. So, if this mistress exists, and it's Kinzo's true wife, sorry, mom, lols, the siblings surmise that she's on Kinzo's side and is against them. And they know that their mother and Kinzo were part of an arranged marriage, and there's a little bit of backstory on Kinzo, how he came from I think what was it? It was a family trying to rise from the ashes following the Great Kanto earthquake. So their Shiramiyas were already kind of established, but they used Kinzo as kind of a figurehead to help them get back on their feet. So they basically used him as a puppet. He didn't have any control over his life when he started his 20s, and they got him into an arranged marriage. So a mistress isn't completely out of the question for him. So this existence of this mystery 19th person like demolishes the Ushiramiya family ranking, as anybody can obtain the headship by solving the riddle. But then they're like, okay, so if this lady actually gave us the riddle to solve, doesn't that mean she has the upper hand? Doesn't she potentially have the gold or something? So it's a really weird situation, because why is she even like dangling the gold in front of them in the first place? And Kyrie is like, okay, well, I'm going to use my chessboard logic and say maybe she doesn't actually have the gold. Because, if she had the gold, would the answer really be that amazeballs that we just give up the headship and like the gold? So everybody is like, okay, so there's a hidden lady on the island. Confirmed. And this is like, just a hallmark of Ryukishi's writing, where he goes in roundabout ways of explaining something and then going into further explanations and then coming back to what he was
in this specific situation. It has a very good impact, because after you finish reading this scene, you feel like the time that passed was actually the time that then the clock tells you passed. So like the fact that you see these people go into such conversations, it feels like a real conversation, because a real conversation goes through different ways and then comes back and then goes somewhere else again. So in this situation, I think it's a great example of how good Ryukishi's writing can be, because even those that it can feel like a slog, but here it is well used. Any objections?
You're right. Well, while I was writing these notes, I just coined it as like the Ryukishi sandwich, because he would show you a topic, he'd bookend the conversation thread with the topic, but in the middle, he just like throw in a bunch of analogies on top of analogies, and I'm like, we get it, dude, come on. But I guess if you're considering that's a conversation between characters, it makes sense. But anyways, Kyrie is thinking about why the letter was sent to them in the first place, and it was probably to like cause some discord amongst everybody and have them turn on each other and then not get this riddle solved. So the kids are like, maybe this Beatrice lady actually does have the gold and wants to buy the headship off of us. And Natsuhi's like, how could you guys? And all the siblings are like, well, yeah, we kind of need the money, so we will do that. So we jump to Meta Battler digesting this idea of a 19th person existing. And he kind of like bounces ideas off of Ronove about, okay, so I could just blame everything on this 19th person, right? And Ronove and Beatrice eventually comes in, and they're like, okay, well, let's fucking show you running with that logic will take you. And they go in a roundabout conversation on explaining how to solve the mystery with a 19th person. I don't think I'm making much sense, but basically, Battler thinks that 19th person's on the island. Beatrice is like, okay, watch what Rosa's about to say. And then Rosa says, okay, guys, I have a confession to make. I think I killed Beatrice. And they're all like, wait, what? So we go back in time, 20 years prior. You see Kinzo and, surprisingly, the Golden Witch Beatrice, all decked out in her dress, just having a weird first date, kind of. It has, like, weird first date vibes. And Beatrice is like, Kinzo, what the hell am I doing here? And Kinzo's like, oh, you're so funny. You keep asking that question. And she's like, no, I'm serious. Like, why does everybody just keep calling me like a witch? Why can't I leave? And Kinzo's like, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. So Battler and Beatrice are just like, conversing about the situation, and Battler is like, wait, what the hell's going on? And Beatrice is like, behold, this is Kinzo keeping me captive for years and years, 20 years ago. And Battler's like, wait, what? And it gets confirmed by Red Truth that this conversation did happen 20 years prior to the story of what's going on in Rokkenjima. Beatrice just explains that Kinzo trapped her in a flesh cage, and now this conversation's happening. She tried to escape once by getting rid of her flesh cage. She keeps calling it a flesh cage, and I hate that word, but she tried to kill herself, essentially, but came back, and Kinzo's, got her on lockdown, and here we are now. Anyways, we continue further down the flashback, and Rosa's like, one time I got a really bad grade, so I wandered into the island and stumbled across the mansion, even though our parents told us not to. And there actually was a lady named Beatrice. We talked about zoos and stuff, and she's like, well, I don't know what a zoo is, but it sounds like I am the Beatrice Zoo. But sorry, I didn't say it right because I have a friend who's actually...
Imagine that.
Yeah, well, that's what she says. I didn't pronounce it right because I have a friend who's actually named Beatrice Zoo.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Wait, what is her last name?
I will never show her this.
Is this the Beatrice you talked about?
Yeah, like ZHU.
Or
if you can say Jew.
Oh, that makes sense. That's a
Jew.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, like the pronunciation.
So her name is like Red? Is that the jewel her name is?
Red. Yeah, ZHU, but if you pronounce it American like it's Zoo.
Okay, that makes sense. That's
so I was like
really
writing
funny.
that, I'm like, oh my god, it's her. She was like, I told her about Umineko, and she's like, I can never read it because it has my name in it. And I was like, oh my god, wait, this is exactly why she can't read this, because they basically say her name. But she's like, Rosa, young Rosa 20 years ago is like, okay, do you want me to like take you out? And Beatrice is like, yeah, take me on a trip. I want to go someplace. American Boy style.
Take me to Dragonland.
Take me to your Fortnite, Rosa. Take me to your Xbox so we can play Fortnite today, Rosa.
No, they're just saying there is a really amazing Fortnite version of Umineko. I found an edit of it. Wait, Lorenzo, have you not seen it yet? Okay, I'm gonna send it.
No, I saw it.
So good.
But yeah, so Rosa offers to take Beatrice out of here, and she's like, thank God, I'm tired of being called Beatrice. I'm tired of wearing this dress, and I'm tired of being trapped in this mansion called Kuadorian. And they just leave. And it's kind of sad because, like, it really seems like Beatrice never left the grounds of the mansion. Like, she never knew there was an outside world, so she keeps asking this 10-year-old, like, hey, what's this? What's that? What's this? And, what's a school? Right? And then Rosa's like, I'm 10, but I will lead you off of this island, I think, or wherever I think we can go. So she gets lost because, again, she's 10. They go to the beach because she thinks it's easier to, like, travel along the shore. But first, they have to, like, descend off this cliffside. And Beatrice slips and fucking dies. And that's it. And did you try to sing the Among Us?
No, it's not Among Us. It's
that.
What's it? Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Just put that Seinfeld theme.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, we didn't mention this, but the place that she's from, the place she lives in, is called Kuadorian, and it's like means like 9-bird retreat. It's like one of those fucking names, man. It's like all of it's ands, like
right. But just know that the hidden mansion has a name. It's called Kuadorian, and it is confirmed in red to have existed as well.
Yeah.
So there's an island. There's a hidden lady. She got fucking murder killed by this 10-year-old Rosa.
Yeah,
and Rosa's like, oh my god, what happened? So she tries to like wake up the dead body, and then eventually just like runs away, and then we see the spirit of Beatrice rise from the body, and she's like, oh, poor Rosa, you did free me from my imprisonment. I thank you. And then we go and see that Meta Beatrice is like, and then I plotted my master plan. 20 years of just stewing over this. I saw Kinzo trying to revive me with this ritual that involves 13 sacrifices, and you know what that is. Epitaph. And then Battler's like, oh, what the fuck? Kinzo was planning this from the beginning. Battler kind of just like stews over what the weird homunculus talk that she talked about.
One of the scenes I think it's really funny is that like because Battler is like reacting so insensitive about this whole thing. He's like, "What is this all about?" Like, that's pretty funny.
Yeah,
like,
right.
And then Beatrice is just like, what the fuck? Like, I told you a story about my life, and now you're just, like, making fun of me about this? Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, and he
hurts her feelings so bad.
And she just fucking leaves. She's like, I'm just gonna go get some snack, and you just sit here and think about what a shitty person you are.
Honestly, it's kind of sad, but then like I think there's a weird line in it where she gets disappointed. She leaves in a huff, and then Battler's like, "Oh, she looks kind of cute. Maybe it's because of her double X chromosomes." Oh. And I was like, that was disgusting. That's the worst thing ever. Of course I would leave the room if I was in the room.
Oh, definitely. That's one of the worst fucking lines that he ever says, man.
So then Battler and Renove are just like talking about it, and he's like, "Okay, so there is a 19th person, right?" And Renove is like, yeah, so just go with that line of thinking," and then they shoot the shit a bit.
And then he says the really famous red truth, which is he says, in 1967, in a hidden mansion on Okajima, Beatrice-sama exists as a human. And then he's like, "Oh wow, that's really helpful. I didn't think you would give me such a helpful fucking like hint, like or like red truth."
Right. Renove gets called away by anime schoolgirl number 1, Lucifer, and then Lucifer just kind of taunts Beatrice and says, "Battler, I'm gonna peg you so hard," and then Battler says, I'm gonna peg you back, but you know, he doesn't have that girl boss energy that Lucifer had, so it kind of like falls flat. Beatrice eventually comes back and says, "Okay, I've cooled off. Now that I've shown you my flashback, I can confidently say in red that there are no more than 18 humans on Rokenjima." And then Battler's like, "What the fuck?" And that's the end of our summary. Yay. Thank God. Thank you for sticking with us for so long. If you haven't read past this part, aka if you haven't read the rest of Umineko, tune out. We'll catch you next time. Thank you so much for listening. See cats, do crimes. See you later. See ya. If you have read past this point and finished Umineko, we are going to go in depth on what we just experienced. Because, boy, what a doozy of exposition did we just see. So...
Yes.
Spoilers warning. All right, welcome back. We are going to discuss spoilers. There's so much to unpack here. You guys want to just like talk about it?
Okay.
Talk about your thoughts.
So, did anybody show up with notes yet? So, do you want to talk about that? Also, on a really random note, I had two things I wanted to. I have one thing I wanted to address from the past that I was listening to the end of your guys' EP2 thing that I wanted to talk about. That's reflected in this.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So the thing I wanted to mention is that like, so you know about how in EP2 is all about like killing everybody else, leaving Rosa alive, and having the whole like happy Halloween Maria on the door, and how in the ending scene Beatrice is torturing like Rosa. I forgot, was Ambi the person who mentioned it, or was Des the person that mentioned it? But I don't remember, but it's about how, why would basically Beatrice pick out Rosa to be the specific person she tortures? And I think somebody mentioned that I do agree that I think, was it you, Des?
Yeah, I went pretty in depth, so you may be thinking about me.
Okay. So, I was thinking that, like, it makes a lot of sense that, like, it's retribution. Like, I think somebody brought up that word, retribution. Like, as in, Beatrice is revenging her mother in that scene, basically.
That wasn't me. I think that was Ambi, actually.
I mean, did you?
I don't remember if I said that in the
that
episode, because I actually think you're remembering me saying that, because I think I've talked about this before, but, like, in private with you, like a long time ago.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I think that's a really interesting detail, because I was like, is it a blessing or a curse for Rosa to live to the end of EP2? And I feel like the happy Halloween Maria thing is more like, hey Maria, like I'm doing you a solid, I'm killing everybody off, but leaving your mother with you, like, you know, like just like you wanted me to, or like so on and so forth, or at least leaving Maria to live in the end, because that's basically what Beatrice always promised Maria, like that I would always you would always be kept alive until the end, so you can revive your mom, basically. So. Des, are you having a difficult time understanding what I'm saying? What was that noise you just made?
No, because I was because I was picturing what you were describing. So I was just imagining, wow, what a great gift, Beato. Thank you for killing my whole family and sparing me and my abusive mother.
Maria doesn't care. Maria does not care. Maria's like, yeah, like, sucks to be them, man. Like, I don't know. She does not care about her family getting murdered. Anyway, the point of the story is that actually it makes a lot of sense to me that Beatrice will forever torture Rosa specifically because she does have gripes with these individual people. Like, one of the reasons, that's why Natsuhi is the person who lives until the end in EP1, because Natsuhi was the person who tossed her off a fucking cliff. And that's why she tortures Rosa, because Rosa actively killed her mother. Or, not actively, but you get the point. So I wanted to mention that because I was like, oh, this reflects in this scene, which is exactly what happens. I mean, it is, like, very accident-prone. I mean, like, we joke that, like, Rosa killed Beatrice, and Rosa says that herself, like, in her own words, but, like, it's completely an accident. And which makes the scene even more tragic. Like, it's sad. It's sad as fuck.
I mean, I think the sadder part was, like, just before, how this is a grown-ass woman who, like, doesn't know anything about the outside world, and Rosa's, like, you know, a 10-year-old, and she's like, this is weird.
Yeah, and then 2 seconds after she leaves, it's, like, dead.
Yeah, and I feel like this is, like, genuinely, like, Beatrice... Oh, that's another thing. Like, Rosa probably doesn't have that many friends. Like, she grew up on, like... She lives on this, like, empty-ass island with all her fucking siblings so much older than her. Like, I'm pretty sure this is, like... When she lives here, like... I think at that time, Cross is almost getting married with Natsuhi or something. Like everybody left or something. And, like... Probably talking to Beatrice is, like, the first time she's getting, like, respected by, like, a more, like, somebody who's older than her and talking to her in, like, a normal way that doesn't make her feel like a fucking idiot or want to kill herself, like, you know?
Yeah, Rosa's the youngest, right?
Yes, Rosa's
she's a baby.
So much younger than all of them. I think she's, like, at least, like, 5 years.
Yeah.
Or no, sorry, no, at least 10 years.
I think it's, like, 10 years.
10 years.
Because she's, like, probably, like, 30-ish in the story,
30,
and then
35.
everybody else is in their 50s.
Yeah.
35?
I think,
okay,
like, she's, like, at least, like, 10 to 15 years younger than everybody.
I love how you said, like, she probably doesn't have many friends. Meanwhile, I think, basically all the siblings don't... I feel like all the siblings don't really have that well relationships with other people.
Rudolph does. Rudolph fucks every living human being that's one.
Oh, but while we're on the topic of dates, I would like to throw back to that conversation/discussion we had about the fucking time frame of when the family moved to the island, because we've got some very conflicting lines here. Because first off, they are talking about the first time they moved to the island, and they throw the date of 30 years ago, and everyone agrees that the family moved 30 years ago. But then when Rosa is telling is talking about when she met Beato, she's saying that was when they first moved to the island. And then they ask her, so 20 years ago? And she was like, yeah, 20 years ago. So, like, is it 30 years ago or is it 20 years ago? And the conclusion we collectively kind of ended up reaching is that maybe what they meant is that since the construction of two whole mansions may take a while, probably what happened was Kinzo moved first to the island to take a look at what was happening, and also because Coadorian, and he doesn't want other people to know about that. So he was probably like, I'll move first and see how things go, and then you come back when the mansion is finished. And so Kinzo went 30 years ago, but the family itself only moved 20 years ago. But the reason they say the family first moved 30 years ago is because Kinzo is ahead. So the concept of the family moves with the head. So does this still make sense to you, Mushroom, who was there on the discussion? And does this make sense to you, Ambi and Lorenzo?
Yes.
I agree with that statement. I feel like if you're gonna fucking move your whole ass family to an island that wasn't cultivated, I feel like it takes a fucking while, man.
Right.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, the island is a lot bigger than I remember it being. So it was really hard to picture that, like, the entire thing would just blow up, because I imagined it so much smaller in that kind of scenario. I guess EP3 put it into like a context of, like, this island is a lot bigger than I first thought.
I mean, I think the island is big, but also small at the same time. I feel like the problem about the island is not that it's big, it's like, it's uncultivated. Like, literally, like, only like a corner of the island has like a mansion, a flower garden, another mansion, and like that's it. Like as in like and a fucking chapel. Like and like the rest.
Does the whole thing blow up?
No, only the Rokkenjima part because you can
only the Rokkenjima.
Oh, okay, I misremembered.
Because you can run far away enough to like escape the explosion.
Yeah, because Kuwadorian didn't blow up. That's the whole reason why Eva survives in the end of EP3 because she was in Kuwadorian and that didn't blow up. Right. And also in EP4 you get to see what it looks like. Well, when you eventually get to EP4, you actually see it like blows up like a crescent moon because like the whole middle, like not the whole middle, the whole corner of the island gets blown up, but like the rest is still there. That's why Angel actually gets to like step onto the island. Yes. She just goes to a part that wasn't blown up yet.
And I was being stupid and was like, why didn't she go to the mansion?
Well, actually, I love that reveal. Like, I love the fact that Umineko takes so fucking long to get to the point. Like, you know, like when you get to EP3 ending, you're like, okay, so everybody's dead and now we're in a future. And then like it's still like it's funny because like I'm literally watching Dubs read Umineko right now, where Dubs is like, wait, why is it like, why do they mean that they don't have any evidence? Like there's so many bodies, like what the fuck are they talking about? And I was like, oh, he doesn't know that the fucking island is blown up.
But he knows the rest of the story except the explosion.
Which is literally the biggest part of the story, which is like insane. Like that literally triggers off so many more questions than answers.
I mean, yeah, I didn't get that there was an explosion until I think it's in episode. Is it halfway through episode 6 when Erika's tooltip says that she died in the explosion?
No, they tell you that in EP4, right? Like they show you what the fucking. Wait, am I going crazy? I'm pretty sure they tell you.
Wait, did they not tell you this explosion until like way later in the?
So I figured I learned of the explosion when I looked at Erika's character portrait, and she was like, she disappeared in the Rokkenjima explosion incident, and I was like, what?
Oh, really? Yeah, I don't think they overtly tell you about the explosion. I think happens at the end of EP4, or maybe because I think they show you the but, maybe in EP5. I don't know. Actually,
yeah. God, when you zoom out, like when you're rereading it, okay, sorry. Zooming out and looking at the giant crater in the island is like very analogous to just rereading Umineko, because like all the answers are so obvious now that you know what happens, but like the way it was written into the story, it's so discreet and like there's so many red herrings, you can't tell.
I mean, currently, like the chapter we just finished reading, which is the witches in the forest and the possibility of 19 person, is literally like the most, like they are literally handing it to you, man. Like they are literally.
They did. Oh my fucking god! Like at the end of it, I was like so stupid. I was like, okay, so what does this have to do with the story? And I'm like, now that I'm reading
like, they literally told you, like they literally told you, they're like, there's a mistress, she lives in this fucking mansion, she probably had a fucking baby with him, you know, like, and they're like,
and also, Butler even reasons out that probably the baby died, and then not the baby died, the mother died while giving birth to the baby, and that's the metaphor that Beatrips is using to sell this story. Butler reasons this out.
We're just stupid, huh?
It literally is really ridiculous.
But yeah, this is also a great example of Butler's character development. Now he's starting to get how to fight against the witch. He's starting to realize it's all riddles.
The implication that Ronove is kind of a homo. And his history with Kinzo makes me think that they definitely just like kissed at least once. You know, just a little bit on the lips.
Have I shown you that meme, which is the Renove? Like this is a picture of my dad and his best friend Renove
with David Bowie, David Bowie or something.
The 1950s in Vietnam, and they're like, and then it's just like Erika replies like, your dad and that guy totally fucked. Like, do you know what I'm talking?
Yeah, no, that's probably what happened.
Wait, but okay, we have to talk about this. I actually wrote this. I don't know if you saw this, but I wrote like an hour ago. I messaged that I said I was going to talk about this. But okay. Dubs didn't even realize Renove was Genji for like or was supposed to be like a Genji character because it's Renovo. It's like what it's like
Runaway.
Yeah, exactly. So he didn't know that, but the thing is that like why is why is Renove so gay? Like, why is it written to be so gay? So, okay, I have a very good point. So I think, I don't remember where I read this from. Maybe I read this from Rambling of the Golden Witch. Oh, no, I definitely read this from the Rambling of the Golden Witch. Shout out to Rambling of the Golden Witch, the best Tumblr blog of all time. To everybody who ever wants any questions or just, like, really good insight, just go read it. Like, it's literally the best blog. But I was thinking, like, why is Renove so gay? And so, like, Kumazawa and, like, Virgilia's personality is, like, kind of similar in a way, but, like, maybe it's, like, taken away more of the jokey side, but, like, to go for, like, and like, but Renove's character and Genji is like very opposite in a way, or like overtly opposite in a way. And I was thinking that like, so in the Rambling of the Golden Witch talks about this, which is that like to Sayo, who doesn't really know what like having like gender identity, being queer, being gay, or whatever that means, I think like Sayo doesn't think that she's gay, like as in like. Gay as in like
a label.
She doesn't think that she's gay, like as in she thinks she's straight. Well, no matter which way she is like approaching this topic, like she is straight when she's with Jessica. She is straight when she's with George. She's been straight with her fantasies with Battler. And I think for her to trying to rationalize it, she made Renove into the most campy gay possible. Like Renove is literally the poster child of, like, camp gay. Like, overtly flirtatious with his, like, oh, I am a gentleman, like, of the night. Like, kind of like that. With his, like, pencil, like, his, like, pencil mustache, which is, like, literally revokes, like, John Waters in my brain immediately, which is the gay. Like, you know, like, I think...
Limp-wristed and everything.
Exactly. So, like...
When they do the English dub of Renove, he's definitely gonna have the gay voice. Battler, do you want some of my cookies?
Well, yeah, that's
just kind of like that.
Yeah, like so. The point of the story is that I think Sayo wrote these characters to basically delegate her thoughts on like what's being straight, what's being gay, how does her attraction work, and I think she like overtly wrote
like a stereotypical gay guy as
to be like, I'm not like him though. Like I think.
Yeah, I get it.
So that's
a pretty good point.
Like, so like, and I mean like, and I like if I think about it, like it makes a lot of sense. Like because like technically speaking, like we could like instead of thinking about this, like why did Ryukishi wrote these characters? Like you can think about like why did Sayo wrote these characters? Like when we get to like why did Sayo make like Gap and make like Virgilia the way they are, like we could totally talk about it. Like it's just very interesting. Like I think like that really shows. Like I think it's really interesting that like Renove is a campy gay, and that's just how it is. like he's just like a gay stereotype. Like I just think that's funny.
It is. He is. That's a really good point that you brought up because I like it went over my head. I got the vibe from him, but I was just like, that's kind of weird, and I don't think he's connected to Genji in any way. So let's move on. But
yes, Genji totally closeted, repressed gay, like obvious.
Like, why would he stick with Kinzo this whole time? You know, they were
so repressive.
And they were just like, oh, I remember, like, he was so popular with the ladies back then, but, you know, he never settled with anyone, and he just decided to stick with me this whole time. I don't know why.
It's a mystery.
This conversation has made me have a realization, because you know that meme about...
Oh, is he gay or European?
Is he gay or is he European?
Is he gay or European, you know? Because, like, you're talking about the stereotypical gay, and I'm like... That's just a gentleman. What?
That's just European.
Like that's the stereotype is not that here.
Oh my god.
Like
Well,
the
yeah,
stereotype
that's the whole
here
point.
is flamboyance. That's the stereotype.
Is he gay or is he European?
That's fucking
Yeah.
funny. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I'm okay.
And-
You know what? I'm so glad we do have a European in our call to tell us, some fucking Americans, that you know what, showing same gender friends doesn't have to be like homoerotic. It just has to be a good person.
He's just a guy.
Fellas, is it gay to
That's
be
really
friends
funny. Oh
with
my
other
god.
guys?
Or is it European?
Or is it European? Exactly.
We're doing it Europe style, guys.
Okay, enough Legally Blonde lyrics.
God. Anyways,
Anyway.
I think I mentioned this. I did mention this before, but when Renove introduced himself as like, the level 27 demon, the legend 27, it just like brought out how much of a, what is it? An otaku
totally.
Sayo is in terms of just like
Oh, yeah.
going deep into like, underworld lore, how she's just like, oh yeah, Renove is, the level 27 demon, and the 7 stakes are also just like high level demons, and I can summon all of them because I'm so cool, and I'm like the master witch who can control absolutely everything. And
She's a whale.
because I have no real power in my actual life. I know, it's kind of sad because she escapes through this really intricate fantasies to, break away from what's her reality. And Rosa even mentioned how when she went back to the Corridorian Beatrice on how naive she was and how much she believed in magic and all that stuff. It was very, it was very good characterization, I'd say,
Yeah.
on how, Sayo / Beatrice
Yeah, I like how you mentioned that it was sad, because that's very true too. Like even though it's really cool to see, that like yeah, it's her wish fulfillment OC fantasy, like.
right.
Like at the same time, like it's very tragic to think that's like that's how
For sure.
they had to cope.
And also the mention of like summoning more demons and how Beatrice says it's more lively and less alone. That's a real Sayo moment, because now that all these magical entities are being summoned because she has someone to talk to, aka Battler, it's becoming a lot less isolated for Beatrice / Sayo.
Yeah.
Anyways, continue. Yes.
While we're on that topic and bridging back with Butler's character development, Butler is starting to kinda accept magic on a meta level, and that's interesting because and also, okay, this is gonna bring all of the topics together, even Ranove, because I did not realize how integral Ranove is to making Butler and Beato closer, because okay, in EP2 we saw that Butler strayed from being hostile towards Beato to being a bit more playful with her, but now in EP3 Beato needs Butler to actually feel bad for her, otherwise the twist at the end won't work. So Ranove is super important, because even though he isn't a super bad guy, because of the way he interacts with both of them, they can kind of bond over how much they despise Ranove's remarks sometimes. And so they kind of grow a bit closer, haha. And by the end, they are so close that Butler almost signs a contract to accept magic.
Oh man, the ultimate wingman. But also, doesn't that mean he was just kind of, on Beatrice's side trying to trick him into believing magic this whole time? Who knows?
Definitely.
Yeah. But yeah, you bring a good point, because towards the end, when he accidentally hurts Beatrice's feelings by being like, I'm done with your bullshit, and then Renove is like, oh, well, she might be kind of weird, but she just wants a friend,
Yeah.
That's kind of like what Renove gets in Battler's head towards the end of this segment that we covered. Any other thoughts? Because there was like
many other thoughts.
Go for it.
Okay, so
yeah,
I remember in a previous episode that I pointed out how much Jeska almost reaches the fucking... No, she does. She reaches the answer just by bullshitting her way through her thoughts, and in this way it happens again. She just spouts out some nonsense that she's like, maybe... okay, what if this is what's going on? And she's actually right.
The Shannon, like she said that Shannon dressed up in front of Maria.
Yeah,
that's what I was about to say.
Which is just makes me think about how Jeska is always so goddamn close to understanding Sayo, but she just stops thinking.
Yeah.
But like also in her defense, her parents die and she's like filled with rage in EP2. So okay, I can understand you stopping thinking there.
Right.
I don't recall what's gonna happen in EP3, but I guess it's kind of gonna be the same thing to where she's just filled with rage and that's why she stops thinking. But it's kind of maddening how Jeska is always so close to fucking granting Sayo's wish.
She just has all her points allocated to perception and nothing else.
Oh,
Wisdom, intellect, it's 0.
That's so true. Yeah, I
Just
think
head empty.
I think. Oh yeah, speaking about that, I actually saw a recent r/Umineko thread, which somebody was like, "Haha, I love Natsuhi, and Natsuhi's such so dumb. Like she's the best dumb character that's ever written." And then people actually went to in the thread and wrote extremely extremely detailed things about like, well, Natsuhi's not dumb. Like she gets easily overwhelmed. She's also with like the Ushirumi family. Like she appears to be dumb in front of these people because she gets flustered and she gets overrun with emotion, and she basically gets steamrailed by like Eva all the time, and or like Rudolph and Kiria, and like that's the same idea as like Rosa, who are both like who, if they had a better environment, could definitely grow and become better people, but completely got their growth stunted because they fucking they either was born into the Ushiromiya family or just like or married into it. Also, on another random note, the Rambling of the Golden Witch, the whole thing about is Genji gay or not gay, that shit, like is he gay or European shit, I just posted a link to it, and the best thing is it's written 5 years ago and it's very long and has a lot of pictures and has a lot of sources, and it only has 12 fucking notes. Like nobody fucking reblogged this or hearted it. So what is wrong with these people?
What?
Like it's so good. I say like a good afternoon well spent is either reading Rambling of the Golden Witch or going to Umineko TV Tropes.
Okay, so make that 13 notes. I'll give it a like.
Oh yeah, I'll give it a like, and then I'll go to see who gave the like last, so I can go stalk your Tumblr.
Oh no, okay, just kidding. No.
We don't want to dox any Tumblrs here.
I mean, like, ever since they got rid of the porn, I don't think it's that bad, but it's still
I know,
cringe.
it's really sad. I'm gonna forever weep for the goodbye to the porn blogs of
The
Tumblr.
purge.
Yeah, I know.
Everyone moved to Twitter, but like I think Twitter sometimes like dredges up some good Tumblr screen caps. Like I think last week I saw one that was somebody said, "Oh, everybody, we moved schools the other day," and then somebody replies that just says, "Good for you, cunt."
Yeah, my Tumblr, I had a Tumblr since 2014, so I have cringe as fuck content on here. So.
Oh yeah.
There are two sides after the whole Tumblr thing that people move to. It's to Twitter, and then the rest to TikTok. That's how
I have one last important thought that I wanted to touch upon. So my last thought is about, I talked about this on the server. It's about how Rudolph could have saved Rosa and in turn have saved both of them from the downward spiral that is the Ushiromiya family. Because if we go back some time, when they were all essentially young and like... Because, okay, why is Kraus bad? Kraus is bad because he inherited many of Kinzo's way of thinking, and also he had to like try to satisfy Kinzo. And Eva is bad because she really has to prove her worth to these two people who essentially control her life, both directly and indirectly. But then Rudolph, he's just kind of like, okay.
He's a fuckboy.
Yeah, because like Kraus and Eva are caught up in their own shit. Rudolph is just kind of there. Sometimes he gets insulted, but like sometimes he has to go along with Eva's and Kraus bashing on Rosa, because if he doesn't, then he's gonna be the one being bashed by them. But if Rudolph had decided at one point in his childhood to oppose these two and side with Rosa, we could have a completely different Ushiromiya family now.
Well,
Rosa probably wouldn't have been caught by this man when she was down and essentially forced into signing a contract that would tear her life to shreds, and both of them would be kind of happier now.
I mean, we're literally saying what ifs. Like, everything could be a what if. What if Rosa didn't actually kill Beatrice the second, the first time she like locked eyes with her, maybe like she could like live, like maybe she could go visit like Beatrice the second, and maybe actually not like cause her to die. Maybe she could, like, anything could have happened if Rosa went to tell anybody about this. Like, I mean, like, that's the whole thing. That's why Last Note of the Golden Witch is bad, because for fucking Asumu to show up to be like
and solve everything.
Yeah, like what if I didn't die? It would solve everything. Like, bitch, anything. If anything was different, it would have altered the whole concept of Umineko.
Yes,
like, literally, like. Yes. What do you want to say, Des? Say it to my fucking face, man.
You want me to say it to your fucking face? I will say it to your fucking face. So, Mushroom, the reason this what if is so fascinating to me is because, unlike with Rosa, basically killing Beato II, she was a kid and she had almost, like, she didn't have much to play in that. And with Asumu, that's a forgery. That's out of the picture. But with Rudolph, this is something that was completely in his hands, and it's something that could easily change the course of the family. And like all of the other what ifs, there are much more different to change.
No, I mean, there's so many good what ifs. Like, I mean, like, I don't know, like, there's a lot of things. Like, I think, like, it's kind of ridiculous to say that, like, Asumu, like, I mean, like, what if fucking Natsuki did have a fucking child? Like, what if Natsuki didn't fucking throw the baby off the cliff? Like, that's a what if. That's a what if that fucking exists. Like, I don't know. I just don't. Okay, so the point is, okay, I love how I just can't help but hate on Last Note now the more I think about it. Like, I wish I could go back to the time without me reading Last Note, because I would have been a better and happier person.
I don't know how this happened to you, Mushroom. You went from kinda enjoying Last Note to low-key not liking, and now you absolutely hate the thought of Last Note. You can't even stand the idea of being inside your head for more than 2 seconds.
It makes me so sad. It makes me, it's like, it's story ruining. It's just like very story ruining. It makes me sad.
Last Note is a thing that came out like way after.
Exactly.
Right? Why do people keep doing that? Why?
First, like, I don't read it. Like, exactly. Like, hands off your creation. Stop tinkering with it. I liked it the first time. You don't have to fucking...
You gotta milk it. You have to milk it.
I don't know. But... Do we, Renove saying the red truth about the Beatrice having that conversation in 1967 or something. Amazing. Yes. That's such a good red truth, you know, like, it really fucked with everybody's mind, you know. Good shit.
I mean, it went over my head. I mean, so I'm free.
I mean, well, I mean, it's good because, like, because Beatrice can't say I was there. She just, like, that's why Renove had to be the one to say it. Because...
Right. I like the explanation on how the red truth has to be used sparingly and in, like, a particular way. Otherwise, you know, you'll end up in a stalemate. Like, Battler will learn the truth too soon. Or
wait, Des, do you not know, like, that? Why did you just gasp at that moment? That's the whole point of Renove saying the red truth.
Because I analyzed that scene from a different perspective. Because, like, I analyzed that scene from the perspective of Renove can say the red truth because he's Beato's servant. So he's only saying the red truth because Beato would have wanted him to say the red truth. But I did not think about the wording.
Well, yes, but the whole point is that, like, Beatrice made him say the red truth, so Battler could think that Beatrice lives for that long. But the whole point is that, like, Beatrice couldn't say that truth because she couldn't say I had that conversation with King Zol.
Thank you for sharing that thought.
It's pretty incredible.
We're thinking about who this Beatrice person was. Kyrie was like, maybe she already won solved the riddle and is, you know, giving us hints. It was... That's the truth. That's exactly what happened. Just from ideas being thrown around and whatnot. And I also wanted to point out the earlier when I mentioned the Ryukishi sandwich on how he kind of just rambles on analogies and whatever. It's very similar to how somebody would have a conversation with themselves inside their heads, which is also, you know, exactly what's happening. It was very...
Oh my god, I've got to say the worst
you get it now, right?
Like, the worst example of that, it's when they start talking about fucking cookies in the box. Like, they say the same thing 3 times.
The Hempel's Raven?
That's
Raven. That's exactly where I wrote that note. I was like, wow, it's almost like, you know, somebody's just trying to figure out what this fallacy means in their head.
Like rambling forever.
Which is really cool. Yes, and that's why I think it works really well in Higurashi, because, you know, characters go think in loops and then things play out in certain ways when you're not thinking rationally and you have the only ally you have is yourself, but that's a Higurashi
we're gonna have to cut that out. I don't know.
But
Whoever said it in... Yeah, but that gave me another random thought.
I don't know.
That
I mean,
gave me
it's a
another
minor...
random thought,
It's
which is
minor.
that
It's a minor thought.
Renove, he's always... Did you guys also notice? If you didn't, you will start noticing this all the time now. Renove is always asking if you'd like some tea. He just doesn't shut up about tea. Like, he shows up, would you like some tea? Someone's having a mental breakdown, would you like some tea? Something major just happens.
What is that thing called? The tea is gay, fuck, why am I...
What?
Tea is gay, phone is
Tea?
love. Oh god, I am literally
Wait, what?
I have
butchering.
no idea what you were trying
Shut
to do.
up, Ambi. You know what I'm talking about. You're a bad friend. Tea is
Wait,
love.
phone is love?
Phone is sex.
Tea is gay, food is sex, phones are love.
Yeah, is that what am I
It's a-
saying that
It's
right?
a sweatshirt. Wait,
Wait, right?
I'll link it.
It's tea is love, phone is sex,
What are you talking about?
fuck. Are you linking it?
It's tea is gay, phone is sex, phones are love.
Yes,
Food is
it's
sex.
it's Sherlock.
What is that?
It's Sherlock. It's the fucking BBC Sherlock. That's from Sarah Z's video. Tea is gay, food is sex, phone are love. Like,
Is
it's
that
the-
what Sherlock is about?
fuck BBC Sherlock. Just saying that. Fuck that show.
Just throw that out there.
Just putting that out there. If you were listening to our podcast and think that I liked BBC Sherlock, now I'm just gonna tell you I hate it. Thank you.
Well, okay.
But yeah.
Uh,
And Des,
Yes.
do you want to talk
I
about
have a
anything?
final
Is there-
thought
Finish your
which
point.
goes back to what we discussed at the end of EP what we talked about 2 episodes ago when we finished EP2 and we were talking about what the fuck? We were talking about Bern, and you, Ambi, suggested that maybe the reason she changes so much over the course of the story is because she's seeing if she likes the role that she is playing, right? And so I was editing the episode and I was like, I am fucking dumb. It's not Bern that changes sides. It's we change sides. But still, the questions... We change sides because we go from wanting to fight Beato to wanting to defend Beato. But Bern is always on the side of wanting to fight Beato. So that's why she turns into an antagonist.
That's a good point.
But that's not the point I'm
That's a
trying to
really
make.
good point.
Yeah.
yeah,
because-
I didn't realize that until you now.
I was gonna say, because speaking of which, I was gonna have some notes, but I lost them, and the only surviving note I found is just a bullet point that says Bernkastel Sanders.
What is that supposed to mean?
That's it.
Stop.
I don't know. I don't know why I wrote
Sanders.
that.
2019.
Bernkastel Sanders 2019. You heard it here
I would not
first, folks.
want to live in a country with ruled by Bern. But anyway, the point I was trying to make is that because, as I said, I wanted to know why Bern goes from being apathetic to being a complete asshole. And so, like, the answer I kind of found is that at the start, she, as you said, she's seeing if she likes the role she's in. So she's helping Butler, and that's why she is empathetic towards Butler, especially because he's in a similar situation. And so she helps Butler, but that Butler is fucking incompetent, and so she goes and fetches Angie. But then Angie turns out to also be incompetent, and so she goes from being no emotions, fucking resting bitch face, to getting kind of salty that these pieces that she has to work with are fucking useless. And so she creates a piece of her own. She creates Furude Erika. And then she starts getting prideful about what her piece is achieving. But in the end, Furude Erika gets completely destroyed. Like, Butler wipes the floor with her. Yeah.
Fucking owned.
And that's
just
when...
completely annihilated.
Yeah, exactly. Owned with facts and
Yeah,
logic.
yeah, and
Just-
that's when Bern is like, you know what? Fuck this game. I'm fucking killing this game board. Like, honestly, she basically rage quits the game. Except instead of walking away, she goes back and fucking destroys the CD.
I mean, yeah, like I think like Burn's experience as a gamer is like she's so fucking mad at the game that not only she breaks her CD, she breaks the computer, she like shows up at the developer's house and then like absolutely like and then like finds like a computer,
harasses them on Twitter.
Yeah, like yes, harasses them on Twitter. No, she basically okay, this is what Burn does. Burn not only like Burn is like enjoying the game and she plays the game more, and at a point she's like, I fucking hate this game so much. She makes like sock accounts like Erica to go harass, to troll the shit out of the and like just like literally dox developer, and then at a certain point like she gets to like EP7, she's like, maybe if I hire like a professional to do this, they can write a hit piece on this person. And then Will didn't even do that for her, and she's like, whatever, fuck it, like let's just show up to the developer house and like gank them hard. And then she just shows up to like fucking murders the whole game, man.
And don't forget in EP8 when she essentially says, hey, developers, look at this. I essentially did the same shit you did, but in 5 minutes. See, your game is shit and I can totally do something better.
But yeah, I find Burn's character extremely interesting, and I also just find that her frustration just like very intriguing. She like I said, like I don't personally think Burn is that smart. I think we have had this like whole conversation about it. Like I feel like she
is 10.
I mean, she's just more like brutal. Like she's just cruel. Like she just gets really hung up about shit, and then just is really fucking petty. I mean, aren't witches but anything but just petty bitches?
Yeah, it's bad vibes.
Ushiro Miyanji would like to know your
incarnate.
location.
Well, Shinomiya Angie is also very petty. Like,
yeah, she's like, see you in hell, bitch. Have a nice day.
Maria literally murders her mom. Like, literally
over and over.
God damn it, you're right.
I'm not. There's like certain levels of pettiness. Like, I mean, like both like Angie and like Maria comes from actual trauma. Like they like, but like. I mean, Burn, you could say, also comes from actual trauma, but she's so far removed from it that she's just petty.
Also, like, when you say the word witch, it has a bad guy connotation, right? Like, oh, the evil, wicked witch. Especially, like, even in, like, Wicked, there's, like, a good witch, quote-unquote. I mean, both witches are supposed to be, quote-unquote, good. But, like, the name witch just exudes malevolence.
Yeah.
You know? So it's not like there's a good witch. Also, read House and Fata Morgana. Just saying. There's a good witch talk going on there.
Okay, so...
Yeah, only bad witches are ugly.
Okay, what about Vergilia then? Vergilia isn't petty.
She got something
her moments.
going on.
She got her moments. Think about, like...
She has her eyes.
She has her eyes, exactly. Remember her eyes when she opens her eyes?
The curly smile? Come on.
I'm pretty sure she gets massively petty in EP4. Like in later on.
Really? Okay. I don't recall EP4, so.
Yes, but like her interactions with Gap, it shows sometimes.
Okay.
Because Gap keeps bullying her.
Anyways, I think we
exhausted everything.
Said all our thoughts.
I said all my one
That's
notes.
good. That was a good talk, everyone. Yes, Burn Castle Sanders. Come on, we had like a 10-minute conversation about that. So yeah.
Okay, we are ending it now.
Hell yeah. Anyways, thank you so much for listening. Tune in next time for the next episode where we cover whatever the hell happens next. In the meantime, see cats do crimes. Catch you later.